Hello and welcome to the 5th week of the BMW 12.0 challenge season in iRacing. Can you believe it? We're a third of the way through the season already. And we've got yet another tight and twisty track to try and get to grips with this week. Tsukuba is not going to be easy in these M4s. However, we have made a really encouraging start to the season in Division 5, currently lying in 28th place out of around 650 drivers. We've averaged around 53, 54 points a week, thanks in no small part to 2 podiums, last time out at the Charlotte Roval and also at Oran Park. However, it's going to be tough today because I've come on at a time of day when there's only one split, so we're in amongst the big boys again. And as you can see from qualifying, we've managed to put it 11th on the grid. I was just happy to get my lap time in below a minute, and we did a 59.6 there. So yeah, 11th on the grid out of 20. Some fierce competition, but let's see if we can build on our encouraging start to the Division 5 season. I must admit, I do always feel apprehensive when I line up against these fast drivers, but there are advantages to the single split. The strength of field is always very high, so if you are fortunate enough to finish in a respectable position, you can often be rewarded with some really good championship points and a pretty decent boost in iRating. Just need to tuck in tightly around turn 1. We've got cars to the outside of us, so we need to give them a bit of space. It's clear now, so I can tuck back onto the racing line safely. Oh, jeez, and a big hit from behind already. And we've got a car off on the left there, so we are going to gain a position back. But yeah, I think we were lucky to get away without any incident points there, because that felt like a right wallop from behind. Oh, we got another incident on the left with a car in the hay bales. Oh, and more carnage at the hairpin as well. What's that? 1, 2, 3 cars off by the looks of it. So that's going to give us a load of positions back. Oh man, I was expecting the standard to be high in this field, but even the faster drivers are struggling with this circuit in the M4. And as we come around to complete the first lap, I'll be interested to see where we are. I've got no idea at the moment. And we're up to 7th. Right, let's go back and check out a replay of the first lap, and we can see where we made up all these positions. And we actually made a pretty decent start, maintained that position, held a tight line on the inside, so we stayed out of trouble, and that was the most important thing for this first corner. And as we exit the turn, I've just shifted the focus onto the pack of cars behind me, because on the lead up to this hairpin, I suffered a bit of a hit from behind, right there. But the car behind takes an even bigger one and it spins him right out, so I can think myself really lucky that I stayed on the track after my hit. Moving on a couple of corners, and it's so easy to lose it there. With no traction control, you get on the gas and the rear can easily step out. And spare a thought for the guy behind. He lost a bit of drive because he was trying to avoid that accident. That invited a move up the inside and he got clipped and got taken out. Oh, and another nudge from behind, and that really unsettled the car this time. Managed to keep it straight though. Oh, and another bump. Oh, and we've got a car out on the left here, but I'm going to stay out wide regardless and let this guy through. We might have opened a gap to let another driver through as well. So yeah, we have lost 2 positions, but I think that was the sensible thing to do. Too much more contact like that, and I'm pretty sure it would have ended up with me getting spun off. So let's give these guys the positions they want and let them battle it out. You never know, they might take each other out here because they're both looking quite aggressive. And yeah, he's looking at a move up the inside. Oh, and speaking of moves up the inside, out of nowhere, just been clobbered again, and again, and now I've been spun right around. Oh, I just need to get off the racing line quick and let these other guys through safely. Yeah, this was a really frustrating blow after such an encouraging start, and to find out what happened, we've actually got to go back to the first lap. Keep your eye on the car in third. He spins out by giving it a little bit too much gas on the exit to the hairpin, and that's actually one of the positions we gained back on that opening lap. That's me just going by there. And then a lap later, it was the very same driver, the number 2 car, Gillian, who kept giving me those nudges that flustered me so much. And what I didn't know at the time when he kept hitting me was that he was actually one of the top 3 drivers, and no doubt I was slowing him down here, and he was getting a little bit frustrated as he wanted to try and get back past as quickly as possible. But after yet more contact there, I decided enough was enough, and I just wanted to open up the gap to let him through. Of course, that opened up a big enough gap to let the number 15 car, Conrad, through as well. But that didn't worry me too much because I felt safer with those 2 guys in front of me. But then I just left a little bit of a gap open in T1 and got completely beaten up. There's car after car coming straight for me, and most of them just want to drive right through me. I panicked and just wanted to get off the racing line as quickly as possible so I didn't disrupt any other races. But for me, it proved incredibly costly. This is the onboard view from the driver 2 cars back, and at the time I felt the move was an incredibly aggressive one up the inside. And this angle certainly makes it look like that as we watch the second contact, which eventually spins me round there and puts me out of the race. However, I went back to look at the replay again from another couple of angles, and I started to see what I should have done differently. We're now on board with Anthony, the driver who hit me. And look at the space I leave there. That's just an open invitation for a move up the inside of me. And actually, from Anthony's on board, it looks a heck of a lot smoother than it did from mine. We're now following Anthony from the overhead camera, and you can see how much later on the brakes he is than me, and also how much more corner entry speed he's carrying. But he's not out of control. I was sure that he was at the time. I thought he was just using me as a barrier to get himself around the turn, but looking at this angle, we can see that I should have taken a more defensive line, which would have blocked off that gap and prevented the move from being made in the first place. Just taking it easy around the hairpin there. I don't know if I picked up any damage the amount of times my car got hit. And these BMWs do seem to get damaged fairly easily in this series this season, but so far so good. The handling feels okay. But I'm pretty sure we're running last on track now. Everyone who was on track came by me before I rejoined. So we're right at the back of the field. It is worth staying out though, given the amount of carnage we saw on the opening couple of laps. I've just got to hope now that more drivers crash out in the next 9 or 10 laps and gift us a few positions back. Well, over the next few laps, my wish came true and I saw lots of cars going into the pits for repairs, and as a result, slowly but surely, I started creeping up the order. This incident on lap 7 is particularly worth a look because it ended up with 4 cars being taken out of action. And look who's at the front of this pack. It's the number 20 car, my old mate Anthony, getting all out of shape there as he runs onto the grass on the approach to the final turn. But as they get the gas down on the exit onto the start and finish straight, the number 13 car is going to have a look around the outside, and again there's going to be no room, and it's going to cause an almighty incident that puts 4 drivers out of the race. So yeah, I've got a bit of sympathy with Anthony for this one. As you can see from the overhead, he had the racing line, and the number 13 car, having a look on the outside, realised there wasn't space, but by that time it was too late. He clips Anthony's rear, and it sends Anthony off into one wall and him off into the other wall, and then 2 more cars get caught up in it too. So it was because of this incident and several more like it that I crossed the line to start the last lap and found myself in 10th position. Incredibly, I was going to finish in the top 10. Any finish like that seemed unthinkable after 3 laps when I was being battered from all angles in turn 1, but it just goes to show it's always worth staying out on track, battling on, even if you are last, because you never know what's going to happen in front of you. And it's also worth remembering, of course, that this is a single split race, so the strength of field is incredibly high. Even a 10th place finish for someone like me will mean a massive boost for championship points. As we cross the line, you'll see that I gained plus 17 on my iRating, and I also came away with a positive safety rating increase, despite all that contact in turn 1. But the real gain comes in the championship standings. I managed to get 53 points, which is pretty much bang on my average for the first 4 weeks, and that's from finishing down in 10th place. Last week I gained 50 odd points for finishing 3rd in a lower split, so it just goes to show how important it is to keep going if you're in one of these higher splits. The rewards are there if you work for it. And look at the difference it's made in the Division 5 Championship standings. Admittedly, we're on the first day of a new week of racing, so most of these drivers won't have done their Week 5 races yet, but I'm up to 8th. I never thought that I'd be anywhere near this high in the standings after 5 weeks of the season, so it's a really encouraging start, and I must admit I'm really enjoying this series. But it's farewell from iRacing for now. I'll be back later in the week with some race room action once their online rank schedule is announced on Thursday, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys then. Take care, cheers.